Hello everyone and welcome back to the finale of the BMW R International Cup. Now, today we have Jerez round 5. Like I said, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to click off the video before I spoil the previous one. If you haven't seen it, fair warning, we won the last race and go into the final round of the season, somehow leading the championship. And if you are a long-time viewer of the channel or know me at all, you'll know that Jerez, in my eyes, is a track that has been designed by the race gods. It is one of my favourite tracks. It is my favourite track. End of. On GP bikes, I don't love it as much as other games. Don't know why. I think it's just performance issues. And again, if you saw my stream last Friday, I was talking about performance issues with my PC, and we'll get to some very spicy performance issues later in this one, and you'll hear all my opinions about that. But we cut here now to 13 minutes left in qualifying, and we're currently going pretty fucking rapid. So 36s in the whole time I've played bikes. I've only ever done 136 on this mod at this track, and that was a really good lap at a Kawasaki, believe it or not. So the fact that we're in 36.8, the fastest I'd gone in the warm-up kind of testing for this week was a 36.6, I believe it was. So still small bit of time left on the table, and usually my qualifying, you kind of, if you've seen the previous episodes or any of my league racing videos, really is over one lap. I'm not special. I don't really have the ability to make a Marcus style kind of hold my breath one lap out of somewhere. I just don't have that ability. I'm good at playing consistent race laps and kind of good in hand-to-hand combat and stuff, and that's where I'm strong. So usually I don't qualify pretty well, and that's my biggest issue. And to be fair, the fact how badly I've qualified for this whole season, coming into the last round leading the championship, is pretty crazy. But you can see here nearly 3 tenths up here coming into Ferrari and Crivia as we end off the lap, and we're pretty much destined to go to pole position. Starting from pole would be an amazing achievement as we come into this last corner. Unfortunately, it's not the best last sector. Up to the line, it is only going to improve, but we end up actually P4. But basically, most times I can pretty much equal every lap time I've ever done in qualifying in the race. But this track, for some reason, maybe I did it in practice, maybe the style of track, I'm not too sure. I had a lot more. I should actually be on pole. The 36.3 that Grang did was well within my reach. Here we are lining up for the end of school year photo picture. You can see Tavera asking the 3 kind of championship challengers to be in a row in the middle of the screen. So we have a nice little screenshot of that, so I will actually post that on the screen in a second. But here we are at the end of the warm-up now. It's all coming into this. I feel confident. I know my ability, I know my pace and stuff. Unfortunately, behind Endjerk, behind Foxer and Garang, it's going to be tough to kind of beat them, because it's all going to be down to the start as usual. And hopefully we can have some good feelings. A lot of the time I don't have a great feeling in the opening laps, and I do kind of squander my chance. But we're here now to start it. We're already after doing one of these kind of start procedures, and just as the lights went out, someone jump start, we did all do it again. So the nerves at this point are really building. 4 red lights, revs are up, launch control is on, and the initial start is good. And Fox just comes across, and for some reason it looks like I dumped the clutch and I just kind of get a bit of wheelie. But in the end, we are just in P2 for a split second, and Krasko touches Endjerk, who's really slow middle of turn 1, and then does contact on the outside. What an entertaining opening corner. And into turn 2 he goes deep in the brake, and it comes back, and I'm so close to him. Already Garang has about 0.7, 0.8 over, so if Garang wins it, basically it's over. You can't beat him. I only have 4 points, so I need to essentially, I can follow him home in other positions, but if he wins, it's all over. So this is what I would class as a complete nightmare. Now Endjerk looks really just off the ball early here. You can see he's really holding me up, and I felt straight away I had to attempt to move for the sake of the championship into Pedrosa, just level him. For whatever reason, again, you can just kind of see his lack of speed, because we level him, we make the corner, but he just goes straight on. So that is P2 tidily done, and we make up no time immediately now to gain back on Garang, but there was no kind of time lost really with Endjerk. We kind of got through nicely and clean, and you can see actually we're taking a bit of time out of Garang. Now, Garang probably knows that he can probably sit there in front of me for a while, and his speed will probably come in. I was coming into this race thinking that my race pace was strong and towards maybe top 2 or 3, but I still didn't know what Garang could do, because again, in the history books, or kind of the form books, you could say, I would say Garang over a full race would have me probably cover comfortably. But you can see here, going through Crivia, Ferrari, and coming into Lorenzo, we are taking time out of him. And at this point, you can see again, look, he gets the last corner pretty well. Comes back for a late apex, but you can see there's just so much time I gain him on into it. And you can see he's a quick look, which at this point of the race was an instant trigger for me that he's kind of surprised that I'm catching that fast. You kind of only ever look back at a rider if you can kind of see he's gaining or catching. Again, we pulled nearly 1.3 seconds on Injurk and half a lap there, so it shows that right now I'm clearly the fastest man on track, and the bike is just working well for me. So at this point I was thinking, right, we're here now, we need to somehow get close enough to him that we can basically just try and have a chance at passing him, because I can't ride home like this, we can't finish it like this, because he will win the championship and be crowned champion. So at this point I'm thinking, as I'm again, like I feel like really I'm getting close to him without too much, I'm not taking too much risk, again following for the slipstream. So at this point in the race I was thinking, we got a big slide there and I just go touch deep, and at this point now, just as that happened, I just kind of had to say to myself, right, we need to kind of zone in here and just start to put a bit of pressure on Garang, because by no means does he look slow or does he look off or anything, but I was surprised how, again, I was just going to roll up to him again in 2 corners and pretty much down the back of him again. So the amount of time I was able to take out of him, I was just surprised, because I've never been able to ride up to the back of Garang. You see he mixes the apex there to the first of the right in the stadium section. So I was just kind of surprised how easy I was pulling him back in and getting onto the back wheel of him, and green flag behind. I'm not too sure what that's for. And I was just, again, it felt really good. And again, he's completely missed the apex of the second right, and he's come back on track onto race 9. But we just look up the inside, we go for a bit of a move now. On the replay that looks worse. I think, to be fair, I'm winning my right. I've just kind of shown him half wheel. He sits up and Vernon gives us the room. On the replay it looks a bit more laggy, but he does fight back immediately. I don't know if he was unhappy with that move or not, because to be fair, I didn't do anything wrong, but maybe on his end it looked worse, but he couldn't outdo us on the break. We cut him back nicely. So we've actually somehow managed to catch Garang and take the lead. So pretty much perfect scenario. We're 3 laps in and we're in the lead, and all week long I knew that I'd be quicker and I knew that I'd be strong, but all I wanted was just one opportunity, just that one chance. You always hear in the kind of football analogy that you just want one chance at the end of the game, just if you need it, and that's all I wanted, just one chance to basically see could I do what I'm doing. So at this point I got ahead of him and I thought to myself, but shit, I was able to ride up to the back of him. Let me put the hammer down over these next few laps and see can he go with me, and see is his tires taking a couple laps to come in, is setup wrong, is something wrong, because like I was surprised how slow he was, and you can see already 0.4 of a second over Garang we've taken. So again, by no means have we dropped him or absolutely pulled away, because you can see when I kind of caught up to the back of Garang and I wasn't able to overtake him, Endrick was able to kind of just wiggle his way onto the back wheel of me, so we were kind of in a little train of 3 riders going for the championship. But I was just really surprised. I said at this point I was quite surprised, and I was thinking to myself, right, we just need to kind of get into a rhythm now, which was something at Hereta I had great rhythm. I just could do laps all day here. It really comes easy to me riding this track, so I felt really good, and I was just able to put the bike where I wanted. And for one of the few times in e-racing, the bike just felt amazing at the start of the race. You usually feel lethargic, feels just a bit ishy, and it just feels a bit weird. We cut here now to the halfway point of lap 5, and Garang 0.6, 0.7 behind us, another half a second or so back to Endrick. So at this point we're just starting to spread out at the front. You can see 37.0 my last lap. So for example, I did a 36.6 in qualifying. That's 4/10 off on a SCX, I believe I ran in the race. So the gap has just jumped to 1.2, and it looks like Endrick has actually taken time out of him. So we are slowly just pulling away. Similar to Rossi 16, where he just started to take a couple of tenths out of everyone and pulled a bit of a gap. We are just edging our way into the distance, and we're already at about a third race distance. So I'm thinking to myself, this is the opportunity you wanted, and very rarely on this game do you feel like you're in control fully, and I just felt amazing at this track, and just so easily the lap time was coming to me. I wasn't risking a lot, I felt amazing on the brakes, and I was just really just taking the laps off. You'll see as we start to knock the laps away, you'll see the lap times are ridiculously quick. But again, we still have about 1.2 over Garang. I kind of just wanted to get that a bit more. Really, you just want a bit more than a second. Because like, if by some chance you get a GP Bikes moment into, we'll say, Pedrosa or the last corner, you could easily throw away the best part of a second. So you just would want a bit more than a buffer at this point in the race. But we're I'm finding lap time pretty easy, and it is all coming to me quite nicely. Of course, at this point in the race, the track has rubbed in so nicely, so The grip level is beautiful, and it does just so much braking grip, and into a lot of the heavy braking zones I just feel like I have very good stopping power, as well as the drive grip was lovely. So it was just, I was still in a kind of a weird kind of state of just control with this race. It's one of those things you probably hear a lot of top level professionals say that when it's flowing for them, they don't really, it just comes easy. In this race, it felt like for me, I didn't have to push. And you can see now on the map, Endrick is actually up into P2, just on cue. Max out updates. I have 2.3 seconds, so they've obviously started battling, and I've almost 2.5 seconds. So at this point in the race, I see myself, whoa, 2.5 seconds. If I can keep pulling this gap, if I keep taking time, lap after lap after lap out of them, we'll get to a point where we'll kind of have a comfortable margin. We can just start managing the gap. And you can see we're coming up to the line here, another personal best. We are going to jump down into the 36s, which I think only 4 people in qualifying managed the 36, so it just shows the sort of speed we're going at here in the race. And the fact, again, I just can't get over how easy it felt to me. And again, I was probably relaxed. I knew myself, I had the speed, and again, I just wanted that one opportunity. You can see now the gap to Endrick 3 seconds, and Grang is 10 back, so the two of them are nearly locked together. So you know for a fact Endrick's going to be kind of defending a small bit, Grang's going to be trying to look for a way through, so they're not going to be taking optimal racing lines. They're not going to be doing wide sweeping kind of attacking lines like me here. They're going to be trying to find ways to either defend or stuff the rider in front. So it's a perfect situation here for me. And again, with Endrick in P2, that takes the pressure off me, that basically I'm taking points, even more points off Grang if anything. So it was a perfect situation that Grang isn't the next guy behind me. So it was just, again, we were finding the going so easy, and I had one little kind of question mark in my head, because for most of practice I have run a SE0 rear. Felt like maybe just for this race where there's a lot of spin, a lot of edge grip, you want to be maybe on a slightly stiffer compound. And I was kind of on the fence, and then I ran the SEX in the last kind of 10-15 minutes of pre-practice in this session, and I felt amazing, and the lap time was so good. It was similar to what I'm doing now, and I was kind of thinking, shit, like, can I afford to run this? So I was really kind of questioning what I could do. And you can see here 36.8, like, that's not far off what like one of my best ever laps of Jerez was. So it was really interesting. Now you can see we've jumped to a lap 9, 3.7, 3.8 ahead, and again we're another 36.7 that lap for me. And this lap we can see the gap's up nearly at 5 seconds, pretty much back to the two boys behind me. So everything is going rosy for me, and a green flag, and that unfortunately is Gurang, who's gone into the back of Endrick now. There was a disagreement between the two of them Discord on who's at fault. I'm not really going to weigh in it. I don't really want to have an opinion on it, because I don't really care, to be honest. It was a mistake from one of them, two of them. You could blame it either or. I don't really care. I'm not going to kind of pick sides on it. But all it does is it puts Gurang down to P5. So at this point, championship is pretty much mine to throw away. So Endrick was about 12 points back or 9 points back on me. So I knew even if Endrick was to beat me in this race, he still doesn't take the championship. So I was really, at this point in the race, was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, well, it's going to be kind of hard for me to fuck this one up now. But this was the part of the race where I was just worrying about the tyre coming back to me. You can see this one, we're 0.8 over. The rear just had a lap or two where it just started to feel a bit squirmish and a bit weird, and just didn't give me the drive grip that I was feeling. And this is what I was kind of worried about, kind of lap 7, 8, 9. I was like, I know I'm going to get to a stage where the tyre drop off will just start to come in, and it's how I can manage that. Will it create any more issues? But really, 0.8 off, we're still not really doing anything terrible in terms of speed, so I was still pretty confident. But you can see this lap, Endrick has just taken a couple of tenths back to me. So at this point now I was thinking, right, we just need to start cutting off the last few laps. We just need to maintain the gap. We have a pretty big gap, and that is pretty much what we're going to try and do our best. So it was I just wanted that one opportunity, and thankfully I got past Gorang. I managed to put 3 or 4 seconds into him. Then of course he was battling with Endrick, and of course unfortunately they came together and Gorang went down. So it was, for me, it was kind of the perfect race till this point, that we had really strong speed, and we just didn't really have anything go against us. I was able to make up positions quite early on in the race quite easily. Again, the overtake on Enjerk and Grang were not by any means hard to do. They were just, I kind of broke where I normally did, and I managed to just enter the corner a bit better than them, and that kind of was enough to get me into the position in front of me. So again, this lap you can see we nearly dropped back down to doing 36 pace, so it was just that one lap where the tyre just felt like it was going away, and to be honest, I kind of accepted it and kind of just took a lap off, we'll say. You can see up to 37.7, so in my head I was thinking, right, just start to manage. He's quite a bit back now, like I can kind of give him half a second to 0.7 a lap, like, and he'll still want to arrive on my back wheel till pretty much the last lap. So obviously we'd kind of learned exactly how to manage the race from Portimao. I'd done a good job there keeping Fox behind me, so it was good pickings for me really to kind of just roll off that lap and kind of let the tyre come back. But you can see we're still only 0.3 over, so the tyre, that one lap of kind of leaving the tyre have a little break actually has done wonders for the tyre, because we're pretty much on to do, I believe, going to be doing a low 37 or even a high 36. So it was pretty impressive really that the tyre could come back to me at that level. So I was again really happy at this point in the race to be able to do these laps, because my goal into qualifying was to just do a 36, and we're on one of the last few laps there. We did cut away, but we do end up doing a 36.99, I think was the last one. But here we are on the last lap, 6.5 seconds back to Enjerk. That lap there 37.4, so you can see the pace is just is crazy to this point. And at this point now, Garang is P7, 25 seconds back. There is pretty much no way I can throw away this championship. And a bit of the goon riding come out. I was at this point, I'd rode the perfect race in my eyes. And again, in league racing, you rarely ever have, like, I've done in probably 10 years now, I've been league racing in bike games, so I could probably count on one hand how many races I've had like this, where it's just from lights out to the checker flag. It's absolutely been perfect, and this is probably the best ever GB Bikes race for me. It was just, everything clicked for me. You can see it here as well. We're just doing a bit of goon riding back and in. Just had so much confidence with the bike, and I was just playing with it really. It was just fun. Again, everything just felt nice to me. It just really came together in this race. And we're still not out of the neck of the woods yet though, because unfortunately, as you'll see in the next couple of seconds, we actually have some more drama to deal with. And yeah, I'm kind of going to stay quiet here in the next second or two, but you kind of see, and yeah, you'll understand after when I explain what actually happens. Yeah, that actually happened. Yeah, that is Enjerk coming at me at a rate of knots, so completely froze up on me. That is the actual recording of my screen. So I end up somehow in the replay going into first, even though unfortunately it seems like when the game froze, I kind of froze up everything because I don't have any of my inputs. If you look back at the control overlay, it's pretty much frozen, so I can't see what I did. I wouldn't have went into first there in my opinion. I don't really know. It's a weird one. We do take the victory on track, but as you'll see in the result in a second, we actually get second. You can see Enjerk 0.4 over the line. I got a track limits penalty. Coming out of turn 6, so the left after Pedrosa, there's a bit of green paint there. I touched it, I believe, 3 or 4 times, and unfortunately I got a 3-second penalty. So we actually lost the win. Really disheartening. Really, I was really sad when I saw that. Because again, like, we were in the last sector and the bloody game froze on me, or my PC stuttered. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not really much into PCs. I don't know much about them, but the fucking thing froze, like, and it threw me off. I'm still pissed off about it now, but you do see there, we do actually win the championship, and overall we lost the race, but we won the championship in the end. So absolutely buzzing. First championship that I've won on GB Bikes. And yeah, this is the actual overtake for the lead and the championship winning overtake. Let me know in the comments, does it look a bit aggressive? See again there, I'm probably a pair on his screen. He maybe thinks I'm about to hit him. Maybe on his screen I see him in a different position, but because I don't really, the way he sits up was a bit kind of dramatic, so I'm not too sure what he saw. Again, you can see he attacks on the brakes, but we have him comfortably covered. We just square him off. You can see our little squabble there has brought Enjerk right onto the back of us, but it was the perfect race weekend. I had everything go my way. Obviously, in qualifying for the first time ever, I felt like I had a bit more, which was something quite unusual, because usually by the end of qualifying I've set my fastest ever lap, or I've pretty much equaled it, and I'm kind of sitting there, I was like, yeah, well, there's nothing left on the table for me. Whereas this one here, I was thinking, geez, like, every time someone else improved, I was like, well, I can still do better than that, I can still go quicker. And the whole event was just weird for me. I just felt like I had kind of speed at all times, which is not something I usually kind of feel on GB Bikes. I don't consider myself to be one of the best people on this game, so when I felt this good, it was quite strange to be able to play a bit with the speed. But we are going to end it there for this championship, and probably for GP Bikes for a while. I'm going to take a small little break from the game. I want to focus on a few other projects, but I'll still be uploading, of course. So thank you all for tuning in. If you did enjoy the championship, drop a like down below. Let me know what you thought of today's race in the comments, and thank you all for tuning in. I shall see you in the next one. Slán go full.